Hey guys, it's Carol and thank you for stopping by for my belated stitching update. I feel like I've been using that a lot this year, and I just have to say, like, full disclosure, my 2026 plans, when I decide to sit down and write them down for cross-stitching for next year, are going to look pretty much exactly like 2025, because I'm just going to basically do a do-over on this year. But in the meantime, I am here. It's been almost 2 months since I last sat in this chair and shared my progress with you. But on the plus side, since I was just now getting around to editing that video today, many weeks after I filmed it, I'm really familiar with where everything looked like in October when I last filmed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with my first focus piece, and that is Modern Folk Embroidery's No Time Like the Present. Here's where I was last time. And here it is today. Okay, so I said that I was gonna have like a certain pace that I was gonna have to hit to get this thing done in 2025. And guys, I have managed to stay on pace. I don't know how I did that. I am so excited, but this is in fact still attainable as a 2025 finish. I have 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. I can do it, right? Pretty sure I can. I actually have this all like done out on how much I have to do every day. I have not done today's progress yet, but my goal is to basically kind of finish this swirl. So I guess I'm gonna back really fast. Back in, I think, October, the last video I posted, I said I needed to basically do like, there were, this stitch along, which was the 2024 stitch along, was divided into 10 parts. You were supposed to do one for each month through January through October. So in the past, when I refer to getting through like June or July or whatever, it's referencing those chunks. So we'll say roughly 10% of the project. I am all the way through the August stitching. I am over halfway through the September stitching, and obviously I still have October will be down here at the bottom, but yeah, there's not much more below where the bottom of this leg is. So I had said I was gonna have to do basically each month in a 2-week chunk. I didn't really stick to that until right before Thanksgiving, and I realized, okay, I'm falling behind. Can I do this? And I really sat down and said, okay, if I make this basically the only stitching I do from now until the end of the year, can I get it done? And I was like, okay, yes, I can. Also kind of helps that this area went a lot faster than I had planned on, because when I was doing the whole I can do this, I was mired up here. It's a lot denser in the stitching. So this really opened it up, and I'm like, oh, so that's how I was able to catch back up. Once I sat down, I'm like, okay, this is doable. I have found that the amount that I have to do daily between now and over the next 3 weeks, it's a decent chunk, but since it's basically the only stitching I'm doing, because right now I'm like actually super focused on getting this done, I haven't lost my rhythm, which is kind of surprising. I mean, I hate to say, look how much I have done since October. Like, none of this was here. I don't think the birds were here. Like, this, I've been really spending the time on. I love it. It is absolutely beautiful. I am also 100% ready to be done with it. Like, I actually think that if I had said, oh, I'll just finish this next year, it would have ended up languishing for like another like 3-4 years. So me saying I have to get this done was probably the right call. I'm glad I did that. And I don't know, like, the only thing, I'm not loving stitching this squirrel just because the tail is kind of dense. Also, I don't like squirrels that much. Their noise is awful. My dogs hate them. So for me, squirrels are not like this cute thing, but whatever. I do love the deer here in the middle. I love this border here. Yeah, no, it looks amazing. It's coming along. It is my focus piece. So I hope to film at least one more time before Christmas. And if I do, it's pretty much going to be this. Sorry, I'm, not a lot going on. Again, trying to meet this self-imposed deadline. It's okay. Since it's been many weeks since I've been talking to you, these aren't going in any particular order, and if sometimes I'm going to be like, I don't remember what I did, and unfortunately one of those, that's going to be Mirabilia Designs Royal Holiday. Here's where it was last time. And this is my teeny tiny progress. I added to this ribbon, put a little more green, and I think that's it. Like, I picked it up because I wanted to work in the reds. I love these reds, but I realized when I was looking at it, like, I also wanted to fill up. I don't think I have couldn't find any floss that matched the color that her neck is. So I was like, okay, well then I'll just fill in with what I do have. And that really had me going to her hand. So I have to find the white again, but the rest of her hand is going to be right here. So this candle and whatever the floral stuff around it is, I was like, okay, I'll work on that. I mean, it is kind of nice because this ribbon is super cute and it comes down into the dress. So some progress. It's not a lot, but it was a day that was just, I was really wanting to feel holiday cheer. I think this was around Thanksgiving, and I had gotten a little burnt on some of my other stuff. So this was like a single day work on it. It was a lot of fun. I actually felt kind of bad when I put it aside because I wanted to keep working on it. But that's a theme. Like when I touch my projects, I have a tendency to be like, ooh, I love this one. To be fair, I pretty much love most of my projects. So when I pick it up, I'm like, particularly if I haven't worked on it in a while, it becomes yeah, I love this one. I want to totally focus on this, but I want to focus on all my projects, and I can't do that. So this one, I probably won't pick up again before Christmas, but I don't know, I am kind of feeling it. Probably because it's the holiday season. So there you go. Like I said, just a little bit, but it was fun. After spending most of my time working on No Time Like the Present, its colors are beautiful. I love it, but they're pretty muted, and sometimes just that I need to change it and go with like something brighter. So for that, I pulled out Lemons, which is this right here. And this is from Barbara Batts. And here's what it was last time. So this is a 2025 start. It's really a small chart. So one of my smaller ones, but it has a ton of colors within that small chart. But more importantly, pretty much all the colors are really bright. So I didn't do a lot, but I did kind of work on filling in this particular lemon and just adding the brighter color up here. This is where the label where it says lemons. So this is the bottom of the O, this is the edge of the M, and I think this is the beginning of one of the legs on the letter N. Again, this wasn't a lot. This was just I wanted to have something bright, cheerful. I hadn't touched it in a while. It was like a single day, not a lot, maybe 100 stitches, but it felt good. So you're gonna see the theme on that. A lot of this is where it's not No Time Like the Present. It's gonna be I just did it for a little bit just to kind of get a change of pace so that I still felt like cross stitching. So projects that, in fact, once I decided to take my foot off the pedal, if you will, and work on them so they don't get as much as they ought to. A prime example of this is Modern Folk Embroidery's The Fruit of Plenty. Started this back in 2022, made some good progress, and then over the last year, I've kind of not gotten a lot in. Here's what it was last time. And this is the tiny little bit that I've done. I guess I started filling in this shape here. It's the roof of the house. Not a lot. I mean, again, this one I love, but because it's now been so long since I started it, I'm like, this one is probably going to be my next big focus piece next year. That's what I'm thinking, just because I would like to get it done. And I think that if I really make the effort and have like a daily goal with it, that it can go places. But in the meantime, like I said, at least got a little bit of this done. It's kind of interesting to me when I started in January that I was like, oh, I'm like really gonna work on this, and I haven't. I don't know why. I mean, it's beautiful. So like I said, I think its year is gonna be next year. One of the things that keeps me motivated when I'm stitching, particularly when I need to really like buckle down and do a lot, I love to pull up people's floss tubes. And I love like all the different things that people enjoy. Some of my favorite ones to watch do a lot of full coverage stitching, and I hadn't really been doing any full coverage recently since, it's been Modern Folk Embroidery, No Time Like the Present, and Mirabilia Designs Winter Queen. Those have been my focuses for the last few months. not full coverage. And I was like, oh, I need something. And so I decided to pull out Custom Crafts, Autumn Chapel. The artwork is Mark Keatley. It was charted by Tarina Clark. You can find this on PDF on Artisy as well. And these charts, if you want the paper copy, have been floating. I think they are floating around. I find them on eBay regularly. Sorry, I realized how reflective that is. Anyway, here's what was last time. Again, I mentioned not a lot on here. I have been kind of working diagonal from this corner. I had a fair amount right in here. So it's like these orange colors, brown colors, whatever. I was just trying to fill them in, fill it in a little bit this way. I mean, it's not a lot. Again, probably got maybe 150 stitches, I think, when I counted them out. But because this one I had started this project before being like trying parking, discover I hate parking. Okay, that's fine, but at least it meant that I could really like see my progress, as opposed to this is much more like loosey-goosey, depending on which way I'm going and where the colors are seen next. So the nice part, I am almost at the exact same spot that I was at before I did my restart on this. So that makes me really happy. I'm hoping that this one can get some more work on it in the new year. I will say I do appreciate that the chart is not huge. So as I'm like, this right here is a page. So they're smaller than the Haid style pages. I don't know. It's really nice. Unfortunately, there's not like a lot going on here. I'm kind of hoping, I'm not that far away from hitting like the chapel roof. So that's the other part where I'm like, okay, if I just do a little bit, this will start looking like something. Because, I mean, I have all of this to fill in. And there's where I was last time. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not quite there, but close enough. So, yeah, it looks good. It was fun. It kind of scratched that full coverage itch that I had very briefly before getting back to my focus pieces. 2026 is going to be basically a redo of 2025. And so one of the things I had said for this year was a goal associated with this chart. This is Heartstring Samplers Summertime Coverlet. Here's where it was last time. This is where I'm at now. You'll note I said earlier this year that this one had to get to a finish or else I was going to UFO it. Well, I haven't had the time to even work on it, so I decided that probably wasn't fair because I, in fact, was looking forward to getting down here to work on the bottom stuff. On the plus side, I was like, just finish out this one motif and you'll be good. So it actually went pretty fast for me. I've gotten a lot better with the one strand over two over. I've gotten a lot better with doing the one stranded over 2 on 36 count. And so it's funny, so when I first started this, I thought it felt very like coverage was not what I was expecting, just because honestly I'm used to just slightly heavier coverage, but I've really grown to enjoy that. So I was like, okay, this one, it goes really well. It's cute. There's like dogs and birds and fun stuff down here at the bottom. And more importantly, I had started this, went back and said, I'm going to do all the boring stuff first. What I didn't really leave myself room for was to do, by doing only the boring stuff, that's why this project I started it in 2018. That's why I had never, I got to basically halfway through the boring stuff and I'm like, I can't stitch the same flower yet another time. There's 16 of these things. Stitched 14 of the 16, and then there's the stuff on the bottom. That was kind of just my own fault. So like I said, this one for next year is basically gets a year reprieve. If it doesn't get done by the end of 2026, I'm going to UFO it. But based on how happy I felt on just finishing out the flower, I don't think that's going to be a problem for this upcoming year. So it's really pretty. I just, like I said, hadn't had the time. So again, probably won't see the rest of December, but this is going to be not a full focus, but it'll get pretty close, I think. So when I was pulling everything together to film this, I had actually forgotten I had worked on this, so that tells you how long it's been. This is the Primitive Hare Betsy Ross flag. Here's where it was last time. And this is my tiny bit So I got up to her waist, and I don't know how well the B5200 translates without the rest of the skirt around it, but this is in fact complete across that little, like that inch right there. I did finish the little white specks around. Again, I don't know how that translates on camera. They're not even all that obvious in person, to be quite fair. So, this one's cute. I had really intended on doing a lot more like kind of Americana stitching when I started this back in January through the 18 months leading up to July 4th, 2026. Well, it's my one piece of Americana that I have going right now. It should hopefully be done by July. The fact that I'm having to, this is a small project. There is no reason that I don't have it finished already. It's just, I'm bad with small projects, to be honest. I look at them and be like, okay, I should knock them out, and then I don't do it. So smalls are apparently not for me. I need bigger projects, and this one is like in that unhappy land. Like it's like 5 colors. Doesn't take that long. It's not even all that full of stitching. The fact that I haven't done more like almost makes me a little sad, but whatever. The other thing is I've discovered I just don't really love working on any sort of craziness in the background. This fabric is really pretty. It's I'm trying to remember the name of it right off the top of my head. It's a Constitution. I don't know. Whatever. You can find it on the Primitive Hairs site. It's really pretty. I like this script, but the problem is like this, she's gonna fill in. So you're not gonna see all these anymore. Most of this is gonna get covered over with a flag up top. It's just not for me. I like quieter backgrounds. I guess I expect my stitching to kind of be doing most of the work of talking and not so much the fabric it's on. That's just a personal thing. I was kind of hoping that I would like it better, but I haven't. Oh well. And last and certainly not least is my other focus piece for the rest of 2025, and that's Mirabilia Designs Winter Queen. Here's where she is last time. And I've been busy, like really busy. It was funny because looking at editing the last video, I was like, I had done the beading and finished the beading up in the sleeve, but it just didn't look like much compared to the photo before. But yeah, all of this actually I did in like a 3-day extended, just all I wanted to do was stitch apparently the color blue. So the DMC is 100% complete in this pattern. Sorry, I'm trying to not cut her off and keep everything in focus. So the DMC has done all the Kreinik that goes, and I don't know, again, if you can see it, it is the number 8. It's in a silver color. It looks really pretty in person. I guess the best way to describe it is like up here where you get the beads on it. It looks fantastic. It gets a little lost in the white otherwise, but yeah, and then beading, and you'll see beading needles stuck here. So it did a bunch here. I'm coming down this sleeve here, and then I basically do this in the little spots along her cloak. And that's all that's left. So it's basically beading. Problem is, I don't like to sit down and bead, so I haven't really been prioritizing it. But I, in fact, am on track to get this done this month, so Winter Queen can be done, and I can have at least 3 finishes for 2025, which would be really nice. So I don't know. I wish there was more to say about this. I do think it's interesting. So the old seasonal queens all have this, like they come down here and end very like in a big line. And I mean, it's a pretty enough swoop. Don't get me wrong. I really appreciate that most of the rest of the patterns don't do that. Like I'm going to use Royal Holiday, for example. She basically ends in a down like this. Like it's this, I was like, okay, it's pretty, but I also don't know that I needed it. Maybe it was meant to, like, from a visual standpoint, anchor the picture. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm saying some of, like, there's some things that I don't love about some of the more modern Mirabilias where I find less interesting textures associated with, like, the stitched fabrics. This part being the stitched fabric, the textiles of the various dresses, because I don't do mermaids, I don't do fairies, I do fancy ladies. That's my jam with the Mirabilia stuff. But other parts, like I said, not having to deal with down here, I do appreciate. So, you know, I mean, different things that we learn. On the whole, it's beautiful. I think this is, I'd have to double check. Last time I looked, which was about 6 months ago, this was the only seasonal queen that was still in print. But, you know, if you haven't grabbed her, like, at the end, I actually think I found her one of the most enjoyable to stitch, which is funny because she was the first one. I think she's like MD number 8. No, excuse me, she's MD number 13. But so very copyright 1990. Copyright 1995. She turns 30 this year. I started this one in 2022, but I've had the chart since 2002. So this would be like, I guess I see the end in sight for my first big foray into cross stitching way back in college. So, which was I was going to do the seasonal charts. Looking forward to getting this one done so that I can fully finish, and then I can basically show you all of my Mirabilias framed. Like, Spring Queen has been done since 2006 and is sitting in a box. Is that not like the saddest thing? Whatever. So yeah, on the whole, like I said, very enjoyable. This part went super fast, super pretty. Like I said, I just need to do the beading. And yeah, I'm kind of whining a little bit. Beading for me is less fun than cross stitch. Even though it's the way I do it, I use invisible thread, like the thin nylon. It's a half stitch, bottom left to top right, no matter which direction I'm going out. Just with the beading needle, I've decided it's easier. I always start bottom left, put the bead on, go down top right, and continue on to the next one. It's not really even that slow. The hardest part is just making sure I grab the correct bead. I don't know, I find it tedious. I don't know why. Like I said, it's so random, but they're pretty. So I don't know what else there's to say. She's so sparkly though. In person, she's really sparkly, like beautifully so. And wasn't sure how I was going to feel about all these beads for her sleeves, but I love the effect of it. So it's worth it, even if I am whining about the beading, right? So with that, first of all, isn't it kind of cool? I get to see my stockings again that I did last year. I got them done right at Christmas Eve. So they're back up because obviously it's December. I had hoped that I'd get my own stocking done this year. That's okay. That's a next year goal. I need to sit down and write out my goals and then maybe do a little more culling of like all the nice to haves probably don't need to go on my goals. They should be listed as stretch, and I should be a little more realistic because I look back and say, how did I think I was going to get 12 things completed this year? I was insane. That's okay. Again, I also, at this time last year, had no intention of starting a e-commerce site, so, you know, these things happen. This is like, since it's the end of the video, most people don't get here, so I can chat just a little bit, but I am now honestly kind of in awe of the Flosstubers who are able to do this week in and week out, like years on end. They are amazing. I can like hold the weekly thing for like 3 weeks and then it'll be like, oh, and I got distracted by something, whatever the something is. So I am trying to get better about managing. Like I said, I have so many big projects. They all require time. It's fine, but sitting down and actually filming a Flosstube video for me is like a 3-hour. I always tell myself, I get it done in 2. It takes 3. I don't know why. It's like this every time. Okay, that's fine. But as a result, like, I'm trying to be a little more realistic about how often I'm going to get back here. So, gonna aim for the every other week, which is probably not going to work out. And then I'm going to sit here in January and tell you that I'm going to film weekly, and that's not going to happen either. But it's going to at least be a goal, so whatever. I need to sit down and figure out what my cross-stitching goals are for next year, and have a plans video. And then we're almost to like whip parade time and do those in January. Kind of looking forward to that. just because, again, for me, cross stitching is definitely a cool weather thing. Like, I'm much better about it from like October through March, but yeah, that's how it goes. What's the ums today? Sorry. In the meantime, I hope that your stitching is going well. Please, the people who have basically said you can do it, thank you for the for that belief. Like, I actually have to tell you that your belief, yes, you can get these things done, has helped me keep going when I'm like, I don't want to keep stitching. And I've only done like, 10 stitches for the day, and it's like, that's not going to get this done. So actually, like I said, internet strangers, you guys are amazing. Hope to see you guys roughly the same time next week. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the standard YouTube stuff that, yes, I have jammed here at the very end because that's where I'm going to put it. But again, thank you. I will see you next time. Bye.